Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Valorant, the new 5v5 competitive shooter by Riot Games. Now, if you don't know what Valorant is, it's a new 5v5 FPS shooter that's been getting a ton of hype. Now, unlike the other first-person shooters in the game, like CSGO or Rainbow Six or Call of Duty, Valorant brings something completely new, completely different to the FPS community. So it has the same objectives as CSGO, where you have two different bomb sites and you have to take one over and plant the bomb or defend it if you're on the other team. But it also adds another element to it where it's kind of like Overwatch and League of Legends at the same time, where different characters have different special abilities. So even though it can sound like a completely different game, a lot of the streamers from YouTube, Mixer, or Twitch that have been able to try the game in the early testing stages all pretty much say it's the same game mechanically wise as CSGO. So with that being said, let's just jump right into the gun comparisons and see how you can prepare for Valorant. So starting off in the buy menu in Valorant, you got the pistols, which are the sidearm sections. You got the classic pistol, which can kind of be related to the P2000 or the Glock, or maybe even the unsilenced USP if you're that kind of guy in matchmaking. And then next up you got the shorty, which is the next pistol, which kind of looks like a shotgun pistol, kind of a hybrid. It's probably not going to be like a shotgun, but it definitely looks like the sawed-off in CSGO. And next up we got the frenzy pistol, which automatically looks exactly like the CZ75 in CSGO, and it fires the exact same way as well. And next up we got the ghost pistol, which its counterpart is pretty much going to be the 5.7 like in CSGO, and it even has the same buying price. And last but not least in the pistol section, you got the sheriff, which is going to look like the R8 revolver, but it's going to fire like the deagle in CSGO. And moving on to the SMG menu, with the two SMGs in the game, you can get the Stinger or the Spectre, which both of them are going to resemble the MP5 or the UMP. And moving on to the shotgun menu, with the only two ones in the game, you have the Bucky shotgun and you have the Judge shotgun, which are going to be like the Nova and the Auto shotgun in CSGO. Now moving on to the rifle menu, you got 4 different rifles to choose from, all that can be used for those long range aim duels. So the first two rifles up, you got the Bulldog and the Guardian, which are on the lower tier scale pricing wise in the buy menu for the rifles, so they might not be as important as the bigger hitters, but to give a comparison, they'd be like the FAMAS or the Galil and CSGO. So moving on to the higher tier, more expensive 2 other rifles out of the 4, you got the Phantom, which will be like the M4A1S. And moving on to the big hitter rifle, you got the Vandal, which would be like the AK counterpart in CSGO. So a key thing to remember and to take note of is that not only are the mechanics kind of similar, but there's also recoil patterns and spray patterns in Valorant like there is in CSGO. So not only is it important to just practice your aiming and your game sense, but it's definitely important to try and take the time to learn the spray controls of every single gun. But we'll get into a little bit more of that later. So moving on, we got the only 2 snipers in the game, being the Marshal and the Operator. So we got the Marshal, the less expensive sniper out of the 2, would be compared to the Scout. And then we got the more expensive sniper rifle being the Operator, which we can all tell it's gonna be the AWP in CSGO. Like, come on, it's Operator. So in the last section, we got the heavy machine guns, which are just gonna be the M249 and the Negev in CSGO. Now, obviously, of course, there isn't an official way to prepare for the game without actually playing it. You can still grind in those early hours to give yourself some kind of head start above everybody else, and here's how. So because Valorant has a similar kind of mechanical system to CSGO, what I recommend is hopping into a workshop map such as this one, or just simply hop into a deathmatch server and just keep grinding out those hours so you can get a good feel and sharpen up that raw aiming ability. So if you're interested in playing this game, but you don't own it yet, the game is completely free to play, but they just haven't released the game yet. But you can still get an early access key on April 7th by simply just linking your Twitch account and your Riot Games account together and watching a streamer play it on the 7th of April that have drops enabled in their title. So far, Valorant looks like an extremely fun game to play casually or competitively with your friends, and I seriously see this game just taking off competitively in the esports world and everywhere else. It's gonna be the next big game. So I'm also going to be streaming this game on the 7th of April at Twitch, at twitch.tv/BlueChew.TV. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below, so you can just come on by, watch some Valorant content, tell me your thoughts on Valorant, or even just come hang out. So that'll just wrap up today's video, and if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Valorant content, and if you liked what you saw, make sure you drop a comment, or like, or even share with a friend. And remember, stay safe, stay indoors, because, you know, coronavirus.